I'm Sand,
I'm Holmes. We are Team Murder.
and this is our Thermal Expansion 4 tutorial series. The fuck did you do? Hey guys, this is Sand, and this is the... well, this is going to be like energy stuff, but I found out about these. So this will actually be a general storage for Thermal Expansion 4. So we will be starting off with the tanks, which are actually a little bit more serious than you think. Not by much, but a little bit. The, swear to God, found out about this 5 minutes ago, not even. The cache blocks that they have, which are basically barrels if you're familiar with those, but I'll get into them. Energy cells, which you've played with Thermal Expansion at all, you know what these are, but these are essentially the power storage unit for the mod. And Strongboxes, which are not quite chests, even though they kind of look like it. A little bit more complicated than that. Not much, but a little bit. Everything's a little bit more complicated than basic. So click on whichever stack you would like to see if you're looking for one particular one. If not, please hold on and we will begin with the tanks in just a moment. Alright, if you haven't clicked by now, you want to see them all. Let's get going. First up, we'll be looking at the tank. Now, an important thing to note is to create the tank. It's pretty simple. I actually make basic portable tanks very soon. It's copper with some glass. There we go, glass. And then the next one up is just Invar, which you can make once you get a pulverizer up. So already you're at the hardened tank. So keep that in mind that the first two are very easy to make. Now it starts off at 8 buckets. It's always been like this, but things have changed. So the next one up is 32 buckets, 4 times the size. It used to only double, but now it goes up by powers of something. My brain's not quite there. Next one up is 128, then 512. The top one up there is the creative tank. Anyone who uses a lot of creative mode, liquid in there, when pumped out, will never run out. So that's an interesting thing to note. Now, the way tanks work, this is Ender IO fluid conduits, as Thermal Expansion does not have their own pipes yet. Now, you'll notice that the bottom is blue. What blue means is that it's currently set to input, but you can input no matter what. So it's more or less set to not output. By right-clicking with a wrench, it'll turn orange, and it'll send it out the bottom. That's important to remember. It won't send it at the top. Something to do with how these work. But as you can see, now this will just be kind of endless. I break that. See, even though it's set to orange, it's still taking in water. There you go. The conduits are gravity based, that's why it's acting funny. Now, an important thing to note, if you put down a tank, and you put down another tank on top of it that has something in it, it'll automatically connect the two. This will be set to output, this will be set to input. Shift right clicking with the crescent wrench, and for some reason now also just breaking it with a pick will keep it in the tank, hence portable tank. Now it is also important to note that if you have like on a magma pump, you can just put a huge tower of these and it'll start at the bottom and just fill them up, which is very handy when you have to fill a bunch of them. I've got a world going where I'm walking around with like 6 of the reinforced portable tanks, and I just stack them up 6 high on top of the pump. It just fills them right up. So it's a very handy way to transport liquids when you haven't got up to Ender tanks or you haven't got the Tesseracts for this mod. Oh crap. Well, we'll add that in as an extra. Segue, next block. Next block we'll be going over is the cache. Now, like I said, I only found out about this literally moments ago, I wanted to see if I was forgetting anything, so I typed in creative to see what the creative version was, and I saw that. Seriously, how I found out about it. Not even 5 minutes ago. They're actually very easy to make. A login tin, and then standard style of upgrading. That's how they do all their upgrading. So they start off, can't look at there, at basic. There it is. At 1,000 or 10,000. So you can put 10,000 of an item in there. I'll show you in a moment. And then it goes up to 40, 160,000, 640,000. That's about 500,000 blocks. That's a lot. Now, right-clicking will put the whole stack in there. So now one issue I found with this is it doesn't actually tell you how much is in there. That's a disadvantage to it. Left clicking will pull out a stack. Shift left clicking will pull out one. And you can empty it all the way. Then put something else in there. Now, when you put something in there, you can't put anything else in there. This is now a dirt cache. And only dirt. Actually, I haven't checked this yet. Wow. Okay, that's how you can check, and you can pick it up. Oh wow, that's... I didn't even think of trying that. So you can actually pick these up just like everything else. Man, that is strong. I'm going to be using these. They're so easy to make. Wow. Next block. Alright, next we will be going over the energy cells. So, now there's two factors with this. There's an in and out transfer rate and volume. So the basic leadstone energy cell is 400,000 redstone flux with an 80 per tick transfer. Then it's 2 million with a 400 transfer. 10 million, I think that is. God, it's a lot of zero. With 2,000 transfer. And, oh god, what is that? Oh, that's 50 million. That's a lot. With 10,000 transfer. Then you've got the creative one, infinite energy, super high transfer. Only really useful for creative mode stuff. You can't craft that. Now, the leadstone energy cell, redstone block, lead and glass. Pretty simple. Then you just need some copper and a conductance coil, which is electrum. Keep that in mind. But you can, as long as you have a pulverizer, you can make this. You just need to grind up silver and gold, smelt it down. Then when you're ready to upgrade, the leadstone with 4 invar, which you should have about the same time. Now here's where things get tricky. The redstone energy cell, this one, you need to use the fluid transposer. That's wrong. This is supposed to be redstone. I think my NEI is showing a pretty bad bug. This is supposed to be redstone. You use the fluid transposer to put redstone, to stabilize redstone, which you melt in a magma crucible? Magma crucible. And then some electrum and some lead. And then you upgrade that one into this. So your tier 1 and tier 2 are from the same pair. You turn the tier 1 into the tier 2. But then for the tier 3, you have to start from scratch and then build that into the tier 4. So it's not one continuous line like everything else. Pretty sure it's the only case of that in thermal expansion. I may be wrong. Now, I've gone over some of this in the getting started video. Shift, let's go with the higher one. Shift will drop it by thousands. So you can see, shift left click. Shift right click will be 100s. Normally clicking is 50 for left, 10 for right. I like that it shows it. I never get over that. And then control for when you really need it to be just shy. Actually, on a note, this is not actually a bad idea. Wait. I had an idea. So what this will do is it'll never spend as much as it can take in. So if you are maxing this out, it's a good way to just keep a little bit of a buffer. But anyway. Now the other thing is the sides. Blue is input. Orange is output. Yellow is nothing. If you shift left click on the center, it'll set them all to nothing. Frankly, when you're putting down a machine in a bunch of stuff, Like if you've got a big workshop, I normally just go through and turn them all off because I don't want them cross-communicating. It's a good habit to get into when you start doing larger projects. But yeah, so you put energy in. You can only transfer it in at a max rate that that block can handle. You can only transfer it out. It'll automatically push out the orange at the max rate that it can do. So 80, that's enough for 2 machines, really, pulverizer and a furnace. That'll be about all it can handle. It just can't push it out further. Then you need to upgrade. Considering that's one of the biggest parts of thermal expansion, there's not really too much to say about it. So I guess on to the almost chest strong boxes. Next up is the strong box. So remember I told you it was kind of slightly not really a chest? Well, I was extra right because, well, I'll show you what cued my interest. In older versions, the big thing was you could lock this. That's been changed now a little bit, and you have to craft it with a, oh god, Synelium security lock and some nuggets, and then you get controls for it and all that. But I checked this and it said can be enchanted to hold more items. So, sure enough, if you take it and you enchant it, I've got the various versions. The basic has 2. With magic resistance 1, because that's just what it's called, it's 3. Then it goes to 4, then it goes to 6. It's not a small increase. So, from 2 to 6 with the basic, which is chest wrapped in tin, kind of, mostly. And then it's the standard upgrade policy, you know, in-bar and all that. Same as all the other blocks have been for the whole mod, which makes things nice to upgrade. Then hardened is 4, goes up to, oh god, what is that, 8? That's already bigger than a double chest. And then a double chest for the reinforced. Then, oh jeez, much bigger, resonant. God, that's a big chest. And as per all of these, if you shift right click them with the crescent hammer, you will pick it up with all items intact. Man, that's a big chest.
Now here's a question for you. How does that compare to large chests from other mods, like the iron, gold, silver chests from, oh, the name of that mod escapes me.
It's called iron chests. Let's take a look at the crystal chest. It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 9 by 12 versus 8 by 13. The calculator. So 9 times 12, 108. 8 times 13, 104. Pretty much the same. But keep in mind, this uses up...
It's easier to craft.
Yes and no. The diamond chest, which you need in order to make the crystal chest, uses up 2 diamond for a chest if you're coming from gold, 3 if you're coming from silver. The resonant strongbox uses ender. So it's kind of a lateral shift. If you're better at farming mobs, the resonant strongbox is easier. If you're better at mining and have automated mining systems, then you're probably better off with going with the diamond chest. But that is for iron chests. In terms of this chest, this is all you get. So, yeah. But it's interesting to know how that compares with a very popular chest mod. I had thought of that. And then you have the creative strongbox, which is basically you put an item in there and it's infinite for that. So, look at that. Useful for servers where you want people to get a start. You want to just have like a creative strongbox, one of say torches, one of maybe a couple basic wooden tools, just enough to get people going and kind of take out the first couple hours of blah. I do believe... God, that's silly. I do believe that's it for all of the storage. Didn't actually expect this to be its own video, but it turned out to be. I will be using these caches so much. I can't believe I didn't know they existed. I feel silly. Actually, one quick side note before moving on to the last little bit. Sponges. They're a thing. We have water around here, don't we? Oh yeah, we have got a friggin' ocean. So sponges apparently can absorb water and like actually absorb it. Yeah, so now, oh, I just broke that. Yeah, so it actually deletes the source blocks and sucks them up into the sponge. And then... Now I've got a soaked sponge with 6 buckets in it. Oh, I know what to do with this. I bet you put in a fluid transposer and you pull the water out. Let's find out. That is fluid. Fluid transposer. Power me. Set it to output. Yeah. Neat. So you can actually sponge up a lake, literally. All right. On to the last bit, which will be the Tesseract. All right, last up we will be doing the Tesseract. Now I forgot these in the beginning, so this is kind of like a bonus bit. Just completely forgot about these because I don't relate them to storage, but they're critical for that. Now, I put the creative portable tank filled with water on top because they push down, that's how tanks work, and they fill from the top, that's how they work. The cell here I put on the side and that on the top to show that it doesn't matter. It's not like it's pushing it through the block, it's just goes into the block and then it will find an output and put it out. If you put 2 here, it'll go 50-50. Now, you can save frequencies here and you can set the frequency. They're seen on the other blocks as well, so you can set it to there. Saves you having to remember. Now it does items, fluids, and energy. They used to be 3 separate Tesseracts, but they're not anymore. They're all one. So this is saying to send to all 3. Now I'm not sending items right now because I need to use a whole bunch of different buildcraft stuff to make it work because I can't figure out Ender IOs and theirs aren't and blah 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 blah. So we're doing fluids and energy to show that you can do multiples at once. Now here, it's set to there, but these are set to sending, so it's not going to work. Set it to receiving all. Power goes in there, liquid goes in there. Bob's your uncle. Distance does not matter. Dimensions do not matter. But if you put it in the nether, you have to make sure that it's chunk loaded or something. So if it's unloaded, it will not function. As long as it's loaded, it does not matter where it is. It could be in a Mistcraft Age, Twilight Forest, the End, Nether, across the plains. Are the Farlands still a thing? Or did they fix that? Did they actually fix that? Or is it just outrageously far now?
The potential benefit of that, if I'm understanding you correctly, is if you had, let's say, something to keep the trunk loaded and, let's say, an automatic mining facility in the nether or a lava pump system in the nether, you could have it move interdimensionally without you having to be there.
Yeah, basically. Quarries, buildcraft quarries, auto-load chunks. I believe the endothermic pump and quarry from Extra Utilities? I need to check if I'm right. Pump. Spelled properly. Extra Utilities. Yeah, I was right. Oh, that was stressful. I think they chunk load. The buildcraft pumps do not chunk load. So you need to use something like chicken bones, chicken chunks, or Railcraft has some chunk loaders. There's other mods, I'm sure. Or just stand near it, but that's kind of lame. Yeah, so that's one of the main reasons if you had a quarry or a pump, or if you had 2 bases, if you want to set up like a trading thing where you could have a chest and you wanted to send it to someone, then you say, okay, set it to frequency Bob, and then send the items or liquids through, or the power through, and then on Bob's Tesseract, he would have one for inputting, and then he'd have all of this stuff hooked up. That's another thing you can do with it. There's a lot of different options with Tesseracts. Tesseracts remove distance from equations for a lot of things. Yeah, they're kind of like Ender chests have from the Ender chest mods has some very definitive uses because it actually physically holds it. Same with the Ender tanks, it physically holds it. This doesn't. the Tesseract does not actually hold the objects. There's no internal inventories. It sends it through. There's just like, I think there's a bit of a buffer in there. That's it, like one item, one bucket, something like that. It's meant to transmit straight through. So sometimes this will not suit your purpose and you'll need to use something like ender tanks. But something like a pump or a quarry or something like that, this will suit it just fine. And they're fantastic items. Now that they've been unified into one, they are just great. Unfortunately, they're also a bit late game requiring both. You'll need to build at least 2 of these, and they use Enderium ingots, so that's a bunch of ender pearls right there, plus the magma crucible and liquid transposer. So, and on that downpour, I believe that'll be it for this tutorial. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check when the next tutorials are coming out. Man, this just looks sad now. Oh, that's apparently Team Murder signing out, as Holmes showed up there at the end. Yeah. So, we will see you next time.